As Fnatic or T1, I lean on the side of Fnatic. T1 have been really struggling to get anything going in the last couple of weeks. A couple of players maybe not showing up as much as we might expect. We're waiting for that big moment from 11. We haven't seen it just yet. Is today going to be the day, Des? I know you're stacking your chips on 11 turning up today.
Yeah, that's kind of the gamble that everyone's making with T1, I think, is when does 11 play? It's no longer about Bolo, it's about 11.
When does 11 play?
Who last year was Bolo of APAC, I guess. He was a phenomenal player. It was him and Yas were the two players at the very top of their game that we would always see going head-to-head, and it was a delight to watch. But without him showing up, we've seen other players step forward a bit. We've seen Arikaze doing pretty well. Mephi has had a great first couple of games, top-rated in both of them. But now you need that third man to come online for this team to really start showing what it's made of. A lot of changes for T1 coming into the year and the end of Stage 3. So hopefully we start to see the fruits of that show through soon.
Bans coming in, no major surprises there. The Flores probably being the least common of them, but still not uncommon, I wouldn't say. A lot of value in that operator, as we know. Taken away, I'm going to lose those Rotero drones. Valkyrie still attracting those bans, despite the change to the cams working outdoors or not. For anybody unaware of that Valkyrie change, we recently had it come in where the cams are only active for 10 seconds once they're thrown outside of the map, and then they will just lose signal. So still very, very powerful. The thing is, to be honest, at a pro level, we didn't always see that many external cams.
You did on Consulate, but
that was about it. We didn't really see that many external cams. Generally speaking, the majority are used inside of the map anyway at a pro level. So we're still seeing quite a lot of bans attracted.
Oh, indeed. Let's get into them. Round number 1 is going to start out downstairs in Supply and Laundry. Now, we have just come off a game of Oregon, so you might start seeing a couple of changes here that will tickle your fancy, but for the most part, it's in between these two teams. The only change I'm seeing from what we saw out of the last game between Fav and Sandbox is the Ashe coming in for 11. Not a pick that we saw at all during that game. Instead, saw a lot of Iana coming out for Ramu, so that really is the one change, but still has that destructive capability. Still one of the entry fraggers, I suppose, you can look towards here. We'll see where the focus is going to be, but I do expect Pillar and Blue to be a key focus for the attackers.
Chibisu playing Thorn as well, which is an interesting one, obviously brought up during our pre-show segment. Know How Siege having a look at Thorn and her abilities and uses, and we're going to see a little bit of that firsthand. Now, as was discussed at the time, and we don't see Thorn. She is a trap operator. The gadget has to be labelled as that, really, but not really sort of entry denial. It's not a Legion style. It's not a Malusi style, an Ella style. For me, it's much more useful in and around your plant spot, in and around your key areas, maybe a breaching area where players are going to want to just go and spend a little bit of time there, because the detonation charge on them is such that the entries, they just don't get caught by them because they're in, poof, they're gone, and it's too late once that Razor Bloom detonates. There's been obviously 3 of them positioned downstairs. We'll see how much of an impact they have on this round. For the time being, 11's moved in pretty quickly here. There's the Ashe rush is in full effect, heading straight towards the rear stage stairs. Crazy Boy drawn in ahead, and the wall to stage is going to be opened up as well, but 11 wasting no time.
Yeah, about 60 seconds in here and already got themselves set up around the big tower and looking no doubt towards the hatch inside of meeting. What I imagine you're going to see is PJH here running around between those hatches. He's already used 8 charges, so he's clearly got the other 2 hatches dealt with. And then now going to get the one inside of security open as well. So all hatches are open. They've got ground floor control. Fnatic are all buried in on side of sight. So now really for the next 45 seconds, you'll see T1 looking to kind of condense where these members of Fnatic are. Draw them back in towards Supply, pull them down from playing around Tarp or around Pillar, and just try and restrict them into a box. And that is when you can start making your move. But to make the move, they're looking towards the frags that are on Arikaze, on Mephi here, to get them moving. This Shaiko player, a little bit of a thorn in their side here when it looks at how the plan's playing out, and it'd be beautiful if it was Thorn playing that spot, but I think it's the Jaeger. Pretty
good progress so far from T1. We're just moving into a very key phase now, Des. Can they break the seal? Can they get going, or are they going to stall out? It's all about these first kill, maybe 2 2 kills as and when they come in, which direction they go. 11 still just trying to prod, poke from those rear stage stairs. Can't find anybody, but does move the man away. Nade moving in towards Elboy. Crazy Boy just looking to push forward there, and the kills start coming in, but they're falling in favour of Fnatic right now. However, Crazy Boy able to find one through the soft wall. Levels is up at 3 versus 3 coming into the final 30 seconds, but the question is, do T1 now have the utility they need to get this job done? Chibisu manages to get the kill onto Crazy Boy, and that gives Fnatic an advantage once again, leaving us now 3 versus 2, and this is not going to be easy for T1 from here. They do have Diffuser in hand with PJH, but he's going to have to try and find some room to put this down. This challenge onto Freezer essential, and Arikaze loses it, allowing Merio the double to close out the round. And that's going to be Fnatic taking number 1 and a successful defense of basement.
It felt like a textbook Oregon round, really, didn't it? Attackers want to get the north side control, they want big tower, they want to push through blue, they want to drop through E-box, all the classic stuff, and the defenders just sit and hold their positions and wait for the attackers to make their move. And T1, we commended them. 60 seconds in, they'd done a lot. They got control, they were opening hatches, they had big tower ready to push through. Really, it was the next 75 seconds or so that slowed things down, and we did say they wanted to try and condense and compress the defenders together a little bit more. They weren't able to force the man out of the Shaiko spot. That's what required Crazy Boy to just march his way forward and really go for some damage. Worth noting, by the way, Crazy Boy is the hard support for this team, normally playing Thermite. I did kind of have to do a double take in the last round when I saw that he was on Twitch. I was like, hang on a minute, Crazy Boy on the entry? What? But that was what he was doing in the last round. It's PJH instead who's now kind of sitting into the back and being the solo hard breach for them.
Well, if you remember, I picked up on this last year. PJH often playing more of a flex role last year, going in there trying to get frags, but carrying the diffuser. And I lost my mind over it a couple of times because he'd go in, he'd take a silly death in the middle of nowhere and lose the diffuser. And it just didn't make sense to me because, as you say, they had Crazy Boy on hard support, on the breacher, and PJH was running off into the map with the diffuser. That now seems to have sort of course corrected itself. And
hang on, it hasn't, because I raised this last night as well. Because they've had 3 plants this season, not a single one has come from Crazy Boy.
No, that's
and in their first game, he was 0-4 on entry as a Thermite.
My point more being, if PJH is taking the diffuser, and he's playing that hard support role, that's fine.
Yes.
Rather than him going on that flex role we saw last year, where he was then losing the diffuser in no man's land. If Crazy Boy is no longer playing the hard breach and is going elsewhere, absolutely fine. PJH, you take the case. You get on with it.
And I like that they've got him on this more entry-based role, and he's already found 2 kills in the first round. He likes to be aggressive, and he likes to get in the mix of things. Part of it you can talk about his playstyle. Part, you look at the APAC disruptive, we're getting in your face before you can execute kind of vibe as well. But I feel this might well fit him better. Whether or not it's a permanent fixture or just for this match, we'll find out as the play days continue. But at least in round 1, it did yield some goods for the side of T1. Speaking of which, they're now putting their focus onto this game wall. PJH expending all 18 ex-Kairos pellets to get these holes opened up, including one that he can indeed run through. And Arikaze playing on the downstairs, just in case there was some shenanigans, like someone looking to stand in front of that wall and try and bring down the man on the other side as soon as it opened up.
Again, well played from T1. They're making good time here. They've got that wall open, access to the plant spot. Not yet gained, but at least the sort of method of getting there has been achieved. They now just think about map control and getting that locked down before they can consider going in for a plant on that final execute. But they've got plenty of time to do it, because once again, they've made good progress in the early round. This time, they just need to be finding that opening kill, and they need to be getting that early aggression and just being able to push forward from there.
It's a little bit... They're ignoring Attic entirely. Their entire focus is on the armory side and off towards Big Window, which, shock horror, is where Crazy Boy is lurking. If he vaults in and gets a kill out here, it removes a lot of the pressure on this west side for his team, and suddenly really does a lot of damage to the side of Fnatic. However, we're down to that last 50 seconds or so, Tim. We've said time and time again about how teams have to start panicking in those last 30 seconds. If they leave it too late, they've got a bit of utility coming in. Flashes raining in towards Attic here as they now push their way in, and they're going in for a game plan in a 5 versus 5.
Well played there from Arikaze, just managing to take down Chibisu as he tried to peek over the shield. The kills rain in from Fnatic, but it's too late to prevent that plant going down. However, one of T1, the planter, I think it'll be PJH, is still stood bang on top of that diffuser, and he's going to have to fight his way out of here as the kills rain in, and he can't. It's Merio once again. Now find ourselves in a 4 versus 1, and that's going to be done, Des. That is a successful retake from Fnatic, and they have just thrown T1 into the blender on the top floor.
That was decisive. You'd expect when the plant is down and the pressure's on for the defenders for things to get a little bit more hectic than that, but Fnatic lose one man and crush the side of T1 in the resulting disable and post plant. Really good setup from Fnatic overall as well. Sure, you let T1 in, but they were ready for the retake and spring onto it like anything. Beautiful stuff. Now we go to the offside. They conquer this one. That's that full first quarter won. They've won the 3 sites. They can rotate back through them again. That's when you start to feel very nervous for the side of T1 because the last 2 rounds haven't really been close, let's be fair. That last one, 4 left alive. The prior round, 3 were left alive. Fnatic look comfortable, but then we know they look good on defense. It's the attack that has always concerned us about them so far this season.
I mean, you know, you're right, Des. If Fnatic get this one, I'd be feeling nervous, particularly if I'd predicted T1 to win in the talent predictions, Des.
I'd feel really bad as well, mate.
Who did you predict again, Des?
Don't know, mate. I can't remember.
Oh, well, we'll see how the game goes.
Small detail. Not worth discussing.
Nah, leave it. Just leave it.
Leave it out.
Kitchen and Meeting is going to be our 3rd choice sat here as we really get into things now for Fnatic.
Oh boy.
This is the key for them. This is the one that they really need to hold down. As you said, they then just get to rinse and repeat. And it hasn't felt particularly close for T1. I know they got the diffuser down last time around, but they were nowhere near holding on to it.
Taking some inspiration from Sandbox here, T1 and their Korean brethren. They're bringing along the Osa as well. And we said after the last match, we were out in the back room, we said our team's going to start banning Osa against the side of Sandbox because it's becoming quite a crutch for them in a way. Where they struggled to attack, you've got Envy running the Osa, sometimes the last one left alive, but he's a nightmare. And we saw the one where he dropped the shield, brought out the gun and won the gunfight, and we were like, that is far too quick a swap time for a shield. It was insane, but it's such a powerful operator, and Crazy Boy thinking, hey, we can leverage it in much the same way. He's very used to playing quite an aggressive style, so why not give him the Osa that can literally run at people and start trying to create ground where maybe it isn't there to be found in the first place.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that's been discussed for, I won't necessarily refer to, do I refer to Osa as a shield operator? I suppose she kind of is, the way she's
You
used.
can use her that way, yeah.
Exactly, you know, and we've spoken about ADS times on shield operators before. We've seen them adjusted, we've seen them tweaked, and, you know, like you say, it is something that maybe can be utilised from that Osa, is that quick change onto the primary. But for the time being, PGH has got himself established in there on the rear stage. Diffuser's going to be dropped as movement is made, but Yura's ready. Yura cuts down PJH. I believe that was from Kidstorm's window. Just going to take his man out as he tries to rotate around. And the big one, Des, is the Thermite.
Oh, good lord. It's a slaughter.
What is going on?
It's just a slow walking machine of death here as well. The Osa being the front line. 2 players sat behind to help pick up the kills on the follow through. And T1 have just strong on their way in towards green here, past the line that's normally established. You'd expect them to stop at stage, for example, but they want to carry on here. Forget about going just for Meeting. We want full control of green, and that's what they've got so far. They could even look to go past us and try and go for Kitchen, but Chibisu steps out, finds Arikaze. So at least some balance back for the side of Fnatic. T1 down to 3 members.
For me, Fnatic can't lose this from here. This is their opportunity to get 3-0. They've taken the hard breach. There's no access into Meeting from rear stage. They now have a man advantage. They can't allow this to slip away. 45 seconds left to go, and they are still aggressively looking for those kills, challenging right up into the face of that Osa. Now then, what is 11 going to be able to do from here? Can he move around and manage a little sneak attack into Kitchen via security? Lily looks ready for it. Mephi elsewhere is going to take down Merio, so that now leaves us in a 3v3.
11 looking for his first kill of the game here on the push through. Mephi goes down, so does another, but it's not to be found in round 3. 3 frantic kills coming out of Fnatic. They find 3 rounds in a row, Tim. That's the dream start to Oregon.
Looking pretty good.
Tim, they just cannot get away from it. However, we're heading back down into basement as we get this full rotation of sites, and despite having the timeout, this is arguably the hardest site to attack for many teams on Oregon. Infamously, many really struggle with trying to execute a really well-coordinated E-box drop, and it's certainly not easy to pull off. But for T1, I'm not looking towards this round as the win. I'm looking really towards rounds 5 and 6 when we maybe head towards the top floor and towards Meeting and Kitchen once again to be where they find some success. Because here, you really got your backs up against the wall and have got to find some magic.
I was going to say Electrical there being the smallest room, but the most important. I'm not sure it quite is the smallest. It's a very close toss-up between Electrical and between Closet as to which is the smallest. But that does not dilute its influential nature whatsoever, because, as you say, attacking teams, they want control of Electrical. They want to hold the hatch. They want to get themselves established either via a drop in there or through breaching the wall from bunker, and then push forward to get the diffuser down behind those nice metal shelves that offer a lot of protection for them. That's going to be the focus of most attacks here. There is the old, the odd offside attack where you'll come through Laundry or come through Freezer. Personally, I love a bit of that. It's something that we saw a lot out of LATAM sort of 12 months ago, and it's died off a little bit. We don't see as much of it now, whereas get somebody down Laundry stairs, get one into Freezer, and then push 3 into bunker and rear stage, and just really make it a pressure cooker down there for the defenders.
At least for this starting point here, 60 seconds in, you've got Mephi pushing himself in through Freezer's side, or trying to get into showers, and clearly wants to get himself down on Freezer stairs. But Mary with a pretty aggressive push up here, where normally in, for example, Europe, we'd see players sat at the top of those stairs or lower down, hoping to catch out a drone or two and then back away deeper in towards Freezer. He's sat right at the top of stairs with a mute jammer right in front of him, which really screams nade should be the play. And with Mephi down a nade, that might be what he's committed towards that push.
Arikaze managing almost to find himself a kill from 2 floors away there, doing a little bit of damage down through the hatch. Continues to open up the Kidstorm's floor, but I don't think he's going to get any more joy now. The warning shots have been fired now then. This is going to be interesting. Yura, Lily, how long can they hold on to meeting for? How long can they keep that hatch in their possession? One is going to drop away. The Oryx, I think, remaining for the time being. Nope, Lily's gone as well, so that is meeting given up now. Chibisu just moving down the rear stage stairs as well. So, T1, they've got everything they need in terms of map control. They've got that top floor control. They haven't yet moved in to bunker. They haven't got themselves established down there. So time might start to become a bit of a factor here for them, Des. They need to get moving.
Was he just dropped 2 pellets on? And where did they get the hatch open? I was already open because they were dropping through it, yes. He dropped 2 onto something. I wasn't quite sure what it was, or I didn't see it at the time. Might have been in towards Shaiko. Trying to force that player out once again from behind that spot. Last time it took Crazy Boy just charging at Lily, who was sat behind there on the Jaeger, I think it was, clearing him out and making a bit of space, but Fnatic just really got the pinch down and shut everyone out of it. Crazy Boy, once again, I think is looking towards a drop as he is positioned up towards that hatch. The other 4 members, though, they've got a 2-2 split between Laundry and between Freezer, and now they're starting their push.
Yura just looking to challenge on into Freezer. Arikaze manages to get Merio with a grenade. Can they follow this up now, T1? They've got the advantage. Fnatic need to find kills. 11, however, he's going to be the one to find Lily. A little bit of damage taken from PJH, but the kills continue to flow for T1. 5 versus 2, 5 versus 1. Could it be a flawless round?
Wow.
Yes, it could. 11 finishes it off from Freezer, and T1, they get themselves back in the game with that flawless round in round 4.
And a 3K from 11 after a couple of play days of being silent and achieving nothing the same in those first few rounds. That is when you choose to make yourself known. You're not going to complain about it all that much. I really thought that site would be the one that they would struggle to attack, because downstairs, a bit of a fortress. There is no soft flooring. There's hatches to drop through, but everything else is you pushing downstairs into potentially long lines of sight. But all 5 kills fall the way of T1. 11 just turning 1 into 2 into 3, and finally they get themselves around.
Perfectly timed for T1, really. I think 3-1 looks very, very different to 4-0. You know, you've got a situation now where you can get a draw on the half. That's not too bad. You win another couple of rounds, you 3-3, and all of a sudden you're laughing. If Fnatic get that, they've guaranteed themselves the advantage coming into the second half of things, and it gets a lot more difficult for T1. But their job is far from over yet. These 2 rounds now extremely important. They still don't want to be facing that 5-1 deficit at the half. And if you remember last time around when they played this site, it was round 2, T1 attacked. They were able very convincingly to get themselves into sight and get the diffuser down. That wasn't a problem, but it almost felt like Fnatic kind of let them in. They sort of just said, yep, come on in, come on in, come on in. Yep, right, bang, we've got the retake, we've killed you. And it was just really well played from Fnatic.
I think T1 could have played that post-plant much better. And,
yes,
you know, in any other situation, you probably look at Fnatic losing that round and say, wow, how could they let a plant go down at 5 versus 5, right? It was just a very well-identified opportunity by Fnatic, which they took with both hands and went for it. So it was good on their side, and I guess on the other, a little bit less, by T1, and on Fnatic's side, maybe they want to try and deny the plant going down in the first place. 11 now then is inside of APAC, as we all know him to like playing through. You got Crazy Boy actually now back on the supportive role as well, playing the Maverick in this round because they do need that second hard breach. They want to get the APAC opened up with the Maverick and start their push down. It's a change to their attack in the last round because if you remember, we had Crazy Boy in the Twitch out towards the double big window and had the rest of the team all looking to push in from the east. So I like the fact they're mixing it up here and trying to keep Fnatic guessing.
Crazy Boy getting to work with that blowtorch on the attic then. And a look to potentially push in through there, as you said, 11. Particularly adept at getting himself in through here. Just looking to see if he can take any early gunfight and create a little bit of space for them to move into. But no such luck yet for T1. Halfway through the round, not going too badly. Got themselves the access to attic. I was just trying to draw that sentence out so I could finish it with. They've got themselves the access to attic, and I feel like I was being trolled by the Mav a little bit there. Who just kept taking his time over it.
Fresh calls me Picasso when I'm opening that one. I'd love to know what he wants to call Crazy Boy there, drawing that not quite perfect circle, but it was an attempt. Here we go then. Europe playing on the downstairs just to help deny away. It looks like some of the push in towards the walk-in wardrobe. He plays a bit of denial from below here. This could be quite difficult here, really, for anything to be achieved. PJH might be the target once again. The Piranhas are circling on the downstairs. Yura might now be threatened out here. He's going to go for a jump out. Sprays the man, sees him, but oh, what a flick across from Mephi. Yura looked surely to have the kill, but didn't fire enough bullets out the window.
Do not stop shooting until the kill is in the kill feed. I don't think he knew for sure somebody was there, and he was just chancing his arm, and then he sees the blood spray, and right, I've got to go back in for it. But great reactions from Mephi there, able to just spin on the window and find his man for the opener. 11 doubling down with a kill onto Lily as he moves into meeting, and that clears out the majority of the roam game. It's all going to be back to site now for Fnatic. It's 5 versus 3, and it's going to get difficult.
Those two ADSs doing just enough there to keep him protected, and finally they find one back before Arikaze returns the favour. A 4 versus 2 for T1, and surely you don't lose a 4v2, Tim.
You would hope not at this point, but Merio gets aggressive. Shut down on the trophy door. Light manages to get 1-11 with the trade, and T1 find their second round. And as I said at the beginning of this round, if they can come away from this half 3-3, it is an absolute robbery after what we saw in the first 3 rounds, and Fnatic are going to be left reeling. T1, they have managed to find themselves a little bit of momentum. They've got their legs, Des. Can they keep running?
It's better, right? They've kind of warmed into it. And we comment on this for even some of the best teams we have. I can think about so many games last year where down 1 Kia, it takes them 2, 3, sometimes even 4 rounds to really get into a game. And yes, sometimes you wake up a little bit too late. Sometimes you do manage to bounce back and really turn the heat on. It does feel like they've woken up in these last couple of rounds. 11, 5 kills all by himself, and the rest of the team also surrounding and getting some work done. I do feel a bit bad for PJH, who again has just been the target of Fnatic in a way, trying to shut down that solo heart breacher. That is why you've got Crazy Boy now making sure they've at least got a second, so they don't find themselves blocked off by reinforced walls, hatches, so on and so forth, that they can't open.
I can foresee, and this is just outward looking.
Is this from your crystal ball, is it, Tim?
It is. This is just outward looking in. I look at the situation and I think, is there going to be a problem for PJH in the coming year? We know that he's a player who likes to get mobile, likes to find kills, likes to get around the map, and he'll still be doing that on defense, I'm sure. On the attack, he's much more focused in his role now towards that hard breach, as I discussed earlier, where he was a little bit more flex at times last year. I just wonder if it's going to cause some issues as time goes on, if there's going to be a bit of frustration there. Like, this might be his perfect role, and he might be more than happy, but he's a player who can get kills, and sometimes you're going to need him to do that.
Give it time. I think it's kind of his first kind of time playing this solo hard breach as well, where again, normally it's Crazy Boy. Things could still mix up. Speaking of Crazy Boy, he has identified, okay, we are not going towards meeting. I don't need to bring the Maverick. We can step away from that. Maybe even anticipating we see the top floor again. Has changed away for some reason. I thought he might keep it again for the attic wall. If nothing else, it indicates that I don't think they want to try and get the attic this time around. They'd rather attack elsewhere. Admitted it on the push through here, trying to deal instead with the downstairs site, but if there was a hold up there, hey.
11 manages to move his way into kitchen. That clearance is coming across nicely. Arikaze just up there in the top floor as well. So T1 now comfortable that they have the map control that they needed. Hatches getting open. And again, it's good early progress from T1. I like what they're doing here. Their stage 1 is very, very quick.
That's
getting
the problem.
through, getting map control, clearing roamers away. They're doing very, very well at it. Fnatic are sort of letting them a little bit because they are dropping off and they're giving them that space as well. Can T1 go through, double down, and get this basement site again? It's not going to be easy to level things up at 3-3, but they've got all the time in the world.
I talked myself around in circles earlier. Of course, that not being the top floor, you don't want the Mav. It's just the Hibana you need for the 3 hatches. Nothing else you really have to worry about unless you want to push in through elbow. That is not in the wheelhouse, though, of T1. My concern is last time they had a really good first 60, 70 seconds, got a lot of control, hatches open, then 75 seconds bled through, and nothing really happened. And it feels like the same thing is going to happen again here. We're down to that last 60, and their progress in the last 30 seconds has been minimal. They're kind of squaring up on where do we go next. You're probably going to see Crazy Boy once again try and charge his way in towards Shaiko spot and pick up a kill or two, but here the smoke is ready and waiting.
They feel very reliant on those entry frags, T1. They need to get that advantage to spur them on, to be the spark, the catalyst, and if it doesn't come, it can be a little bit difficult for them. Nades raining out there, clearing utility as a minimum, but that's going to be the opener, and this now, Des, this is the test for T1. They've lost the first man, Lily finding Crazy Boy. Can they now still make this happen? Challenging elbow, but the kills raining. No, they can't. The answer is there, lightning quick, and Fnatic after that opener are able to close things out in quick fashion, and we could well have just identified a little bit of the problem there for T1 on attack. Early round, very good. Get themselves control, force roamers away, know what's going on. Looking for that execute, they need that first kill or two to sort of start the wave going that they can ride on into sight, and if they don't get it, it doesn't really work out for them.
It's that coordination towards the latter part of it for sure, but equally we're speaking about T1's issue. That issue very much applies to Fnatic. They've had a real torrid time this season on the attacking side. T1 not quite the best defenders. They're hardly a bastion of defense here. It doesn't quite go to that level. But for Fnatic, the real change and transformation we're looking for today compared to the last 2 Playdays is a super solid attack. Let's keep an eye on where they choose to start things out, how efficient they are in getting started in the round, because they've got lost a little bit in the last couple of Playdays and their executes have been really, really poor. So we need to see that step up. No doubt you're going to see T1 looking to disrupt that a little bit, getting out in the map. I'm looking towards Arikaze and 11 here, playing on the Jaeger and the Thorn respectively, to meet them on the entryway into the building, to slow them down. So when it does come round to the execution point, they're a little bit frantic and panicked.
Yep. Absolutely agree with you there. This is a big question now for Fnatic in the next couple of rounds, and how much work has been done in the interim to start addressing those attacking issues. As you say, the defenders for the time being largely up on the top floor. We've got 11 on the roam with the Thorn. Great gun for it, as we know. Able to go in and make some challenges, no doubt, but not facing up too hard to what is starting as a small office push for Fnatic. 11 just dropping himself away there, getting himself back into security, but hasn't gone too far, so it's reasonable at this point. I think hold on to that position and now just try to burn as much time as possible.
I mean, with that Ying on side as well, that's the big one to look to, right? That is their execution tool that they're looking for. The smokes, the candelas. Before that, they've still got 5 frags to burn through, mind you. Yes, there is a Jaeger and a Wamai on the other side, but that's when you're thinking about things like the grenades coming in from below. Of course, the entire top floor almost is basically soft flooring. You can do a lot of damage from below, and that's why you've got 11 down there looking to try and deny them in security, why you've got Arikaze watching the hatch, for example. Lots of things to try and dissuade them away from using those frags as 11 drops his way in towards the basement.
Could be fascinating. Fnatic need to make sure that they've got a handle on 11's location and go and find him, get that kill, give themselves the opportunity. They're stacking up now. Chibisu Light ready to go in through that double window, and 11 for the time being, I'm not sure that he's been located as of yet. Could well just be left out in the cold, and it will all be about how he gets himself back onto site. But at the halfway mark, T1, I was going to say stacking up pretty well, but I'm sorry about that. T1 Caster's Curse strikes again, and Light, he manages to take down Mephi to kick things off. Utility starting to rain in. Here comes the Candelas. This is the opportunity. Chibisu, in he goes. Does not get the diffuser down. PJH, Crazy Boy, they go crazy and find themselves 2. Yura manages to get a trade there. 3v2, Lily onto 11. This is just a bloodbath at this point, Des. Yura's managed to move up White Stairs. That's going to be a real power position for this Fnatic attack.
Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, Tim. And my God, both teams just punched each other with a real haymaker. It's all gone a little bit crazy, but it was Crazy Boy who was sat round the left inside of Kids that denied that plant coming through. The smoke grenade came out, he killed the man as he pushed in, and they really shut down the Fnatic attack. They've got 35 seconds to get this round back on track. They're doing the right things. They're droning out. They're making sure they know what is going on before they make their big push in.
Yeah, 30 seconds is an age. They've got plenty of time. Light managing to use that time to best advantage, find the kill onto Crazy Boy without much of a challenge coming back in. And now Arikaze, he has to get mobile here. He has to get loose. He has to move around and make himself unpredictable. He's going to keep a tight angle here in towards Trophy. They don't know exactly where he is, but the diffuser's going down. There's nothing he can do about it. He finds one. He's going to have to let them stick the plant here as he comes around White. He knows he manages to get the down. That leaves us now 1v1. It's all up to White. Somehow, the 1v3. Arikaze has played this absolutely perfectly, Des. He's going to go back and claim his kills before he disables this diffuser. Great play from T1, and that really sets us up for a spicy finish.
Well, you got to get your KD stats in there for GG, Tim. 3 big kills in the close as well. Plays it so patiently. You hear the Candelas come out. Does he turn around and put his attention towards White or Big Window? No. Plays the patience game, and that really just comes from experience of playing the game 10,000 times over, is that you know there's going to be a man coming in from Trophy side. Finds the one, challenges White, and then goes for the man that was going for the plan. Just beautiful stuff out of Arikaze. And once again, we keep saying this about him. He is that player that will find a 3K or a 4K in a round and then go silent for a few rounds and do nothing really. It's all then down to the rest of the team. But when he comes up big, my God, does it count. 4-3 instead of 5-2, you're not going to be complaining.
Fantastically played. Light able to get that diffuser down in the nick of time, but it just, look at that. That's the one on White Stairs. I mean, it's a great little battle that he has with the last man, Light, as he switches to the pistol, finds his shots beautifully, but that one as he comes around the corner, your man on White Stairs, there's only really one area you're going to get pushed from. Even if you're looking towards the attic rotate, it's the same line of sight. You can't lose that fight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beautiful stuff. And now we'll see if Fnatic can pull it off in the basement. They did pretty good. That last round still came down to a 3 versus 1 that they should have won, but just couldn't quite come away as the winners in. On another day, you definitely say Fnatic win that round. Again, it's 5-2. There are a couple of rounds from victory, at least one from guaranteeing at the very minimum overtime, of which we haven't really seen so far yet. Have we, Tim?
We've seen very few. I think we saw one last week.
Overtime in stage 2 and Playday 2 because I wasn't here?
Yeah, I think we might have seen one last week.
It's been very, I wouldn't say decisive, but it has been more decisive than what we were used to last year.
Peeking onto the main door then, PJH, as I said, on defence, likes to get aggressive, likes to be the player that's taking the initiative, doing the unexpected. We often see those nitros flying out of windows and all sorts of jump outs and peaks and just trying to get that early kill, get that momentum, that motivation for his team in the round. But PJH, for the time being, going to drop back down to the bottom of the laundry stairs. Not overly aggressive. And just like T1 were able to, Fnatic having quick map control here, so plenty of time for them to start building that attack onto site. It's going to be very similar to what we saw out of T1 here. It's going to be all about clearing electrical and pillars, getting themselves in position to potentially put a plant down.
Absolutely. They'll get to work opening up the hatches as they need to. Chibisu, no doubt, will get to work on a couple of them as well. I think he was in meeting there just a second ago, but no doubt you want him really in towards lobby and in towards security. Very similar stuff to what we saw T1 doing, which is getting the control you need, pushing through showers, controlling top freezer, opening all 3 hatches. It's very common stuff at this point. PJH actually tricking out the lobby hatch as well, which could be a bit of a point of frustration for Fnatic here. Not that you often use that drop massively, but it does help you make sure that no one on the defensive side is going to run deep into laundry and try and challenge you on those bottom stairs. Now they can get it open once again, and no trick coming out from PJH.
Still plenty in the tank for the Hibana. No problem for Chibisu there to open up everything that they need, so that's going to be fine. They also had the Maverick on side as well. More a waste of time, if anything, forcing them to just revisit those tasks that they think are already ticked off. Fnatic, as of yet, unable to find themselves an opening kill, and the concern, the potential wars for them on attack continues. Des as 11 manages to beat out Yura on the rear stage stairs, and that is not the ideal start for Fnatic here, losing the man early, and that is also potentially some nades gone with him.
This Warden as well, just ready and waiting for these Jin Candelas to come raining in. It's all about the timing in this case. There's the Candela, the drop comes in as well, and this is where Crazy Boy should be able to win his ones. Gets the one, the second one in Pillar dies down to Mephi as well. Meryu bringing one back the other side, a 3 versus 2 for T1. They've got it all on hand here if they want it, but Lily evens things out. Do they know about the man sat here with a shotgun? Yes, they do. Crazy Boy does not lose those. Meryu left in a 1 versus 2. Has got a miracle to work here as well. One round to the left, another shotgun swing. Can't quite find the man. Crazy Boy with a 3k on the E-Box door. Just sitting there like a gargoyle playing on that Warden.
Fantastic play from Crazy Boy. Would not be moved and manages.
It being 4-all, I think it's a good time to have that discussion about, right, boys, how do we get this back on track?
This is their opportunity, Des. Dorms and Laundry have been lost, the sites that you would expect to potentially lose as attackers. They now go in to the third choice site. It's going to be Meeting and Kitchen, and this is the opportunity for Fnatic. They have to get this round on the board, because if they don't, they start staring down the barrel of a potential loss. They need to pick up the third choice site at least twice to get themselves into overtime, as we've discussed. So really, it's an essential round for me, because otherwise you're stacked up against it. If T1 get this, all they have to do is lock out Laundry and Dorms. They don't have to go to the third choice site again.
They do. At least here they've got the Maverick on side, so even if the Kaid were to electrify off this attic wall leading in towards Kids, they still have a way of getting through it. With them committing reinforcements, with them committing the laser gates, for example, on that top floor, I do think you're going to see here a good hold on the top floor coming in from T1, which from Fnatic should invoke the assault in towards that top floor, get it clear, force those defenders down, or better yet, kill them, and then look for your execute into Kitchen with that top floor control. Light already getting into a little bit of a kerfuffle here with, I think it was 11, backing his way up the stairs. He's down a slither of HP, nothing massive, but obviously fortunate to not lose his life.
That's fine for 11 there. He's just had that little initial contact. Mephi managing to step out and get Mario on the master balcony there as the top floor clear continues from Fnatic, but they haven't got anything for it yet. They're trying to get themselves inside of the map, but T1 are just meeting them head on now. You can just feel that confidence coming out of T1, Des, and I like it because it's not something that we've often seen from this side. Last year, it was a struggle for them in reality, but now they really seem to be starting to find their feet, not just in the round, but in APAC North overall. And T1 need to prove now that they are a side that can get themselves ahead and that they can lock it down. Light, he's going to start pushing up rather than going in through Master this time. We're going to take a slightly safer angle. We're going to head up through Armory Corridor and try and get the long angle in from that door towards Dorms.
What I'm enjoying is you've got 4 members of T1 here starting to come on fire today as well. Mephi all the way down to 11, looking at 5+ kills across them all. Arikaze 9 and 5, no surprise at all. PJH really the only one that has struggled throughout the game, and you'll forgive him for that when the team is all playing so well. He's playing his part, he's being the support player for the team, no complaints about that. But here we go, Fnatic are looking to now push through this top floor. They've got one man pinned a couple of pixels off to the right. They just don't know, and then they finally see him. Now they know that Arikaze is holding. Does he try and drop away here or keep on challenging? Drones being taken out. The Lion scan coming in. He's going to plant his feet just for a few seconds and then step back out again for another swing. There's 3 of them here looking to contest him, and no one can quite do it. In comes the step. It's an easy kill onto 1. Can he find the second? Yes, he can. It's massive once again from Arikaze. Out comes the pistol. Makes it a 3rd. He is the defender of Kid's bedroom here. They can't shut him down. It's a flawless round for T1.
Unbelievable performance from Arikaze. It was on the tip of my tongue to say that one man is holding 3 attackers at bay here, Des, and then he took it an extra step. Not only did he hold them at bay, not only did he kill them all, he absolutely decimated the Fnatic attack, able to shut them down, even styling it out. A bit of finesse on the pistol at the end for the final kill. Beautiful play. And what I love, in the midst of all that, and it's just a tiny little thing, Des, but in the middle of all that, he even pinged the diffuser on the ground. There was just no stopping the man.
It's just beautiful because, on Fnatic's side, less so. They've got flashes from the Hibana. They had the Lion scan coming in. They had all the tools they needed to isolate one player and kill him. Yet, between 3 of them, they still just couldn't achieve that. You can't take it away from Arikaze, but no doubt Fnatic look at that and go, boys, we really slipped up there. That should have been over before it even started. But a great hold, and T1 now in the lead. Fnatic's woes on attack continue, yet to find a single one today as we go back up towards Supply and Laundry, which we last saw in round 8. Towards Supply and... What am I on about? Kids Dorms, round 7.
Big problem. Big problem.
I've got a big problem with reverse insights today.
Not just for you, Des. Big problem for Fnatic Fnatic as well here. As I said, they're now going up against T1's two primary choice sites.
Yep.
You call them primary, secondary, all you want, but the reality is these two sites are both very difficult to attack and they're interchangeable as favourites for defenders. So T1 have got a real opportunity here, not just for a win, Des, but for a full 3-point win. And I'm fascinated to see what this T1 side can start doing when the points start coming. That could be any second now. 5 versus 5. Yura has got himself inside of Attic. Decides enough of that. He's going to hop back out again. He's going to move away. He's got control of armor. He's happy that that is locked down. He's going to go to support elsewhere.
I do want to touch on the fact they brought 8 nades in this round, where before it's been 6. They're now doubling down on the pain of those explosives and really looking to dole some damage out to the side of T1. And yes, you're coming up against the Wamai. Yes, you're coming up against the Jaeger. It's why you've got those 3 flashes on side as well. You'll burn through a few of those flashes, but at least 4 really should be finding ideal targets. And sure enough, they should have a way to get this through. But out comes the Electro Claw. Oh, another nade comes through to follow. Much better. A bit of teamwork there between the nades coming in to remove that one away and ensure that game has been opened up in good time. 75 seconds in, and they have a route through to site already.
When you've got 8 nades, you can afford to keep dumping them in like that. Mario just going to open up that window, potentially get a long angle in towards the site. But T1, they're still, despite Fnatic's progress, seeming reasonably comfortable, Des. The defenders haven't really been moved around as of yet. We've still got one in pit. They've only just cleared the shield, and they're pretty much lodged in their early starting positions. So, Arikaze, we saw what happened from him last time he played this position in the last round. He's just going to try to hold on to that door frame, stop anybody pushing up white. For now, though, the pressure is going to mount on Mephi. He still has his shield in place. He's still got the Wamai magnets to try and protect him, but that one just a little bit too close to the shield does allow it to be cleared out. Now then, can he find the kill? He certainly can. Every kill going in favour of T1 right now as he peeks round the corner, gets Mario on the hop-in, and there just wasn't enough work done by Fnatic, not enough of it stuck to try and move Mephi out of his position in pit.
Yeah, I do want to touch on that briefly. The Wamai, a few rounds now, we've seen the magnets put a bit too close to either other magnets or different bits of utility around the map like shields, and it's just catching them out, so a bit more space needed there. However, for T1, they don't care, Tim. It's another flawless round. They've just tore through Fnatic there on their push-in and made it look easy. As we keep on saying, the woes deepen for Fnatic, not a single attacking round to be seen in sight. And at this point, it's T1 moving up to match point.
I don't think this is even about attack and defense anymore. This is, for Fnatic now within this game, transcended that problem, Des. This is now, we've been absolutely battered and the mental's gone.
Yeah.
You know, this is now, we've sort of checked out, really, at this point, and T1 are just starting to run away with it, but I don't want to put it all onto Fnatic because T1 are doing everything right here, Des. They're winning the challenges, they're making them at smart times. Like you say, there's a couple of little things there with the Wamai's got away with, really. Like you say, magnet too close to the shield, clears it out, okay. Then deploys the second magnet a little bit too late, and the nade has already come through. But none of that matters. And Fnatic have been unable to take advantage. And whilst they are only small mistakes, it's only a fractional, marginal amount of time. Those are your opportunities as an attacker. Those are the ones that you've got to be able to take advantage of. You know, those should amount to the death of the player in pit there, and Fnatic having that Attic advantage.
Yeah. I do want to touch back on that point with the Wamai for a second as well. Yes, in that case, you saw it take out the shield. A couple of rounds ago, it was a similar story with a second magnet. When the nade came through, it caught out both of them, and I was like, a bit of a wasted piece of utility there. Some of it just comes down to wanting to absolutely guarantee that you do catch the thrown utility, but the other side of it, really, you want to be keeping those magnets alive. They do take time to charge up and for you to get them out in the field, so a bit more spacing on them coming out from Arikaze. Not going to go amiss, but he is 13-5. You'll forgive him the odd mistake here and there, Tim. With this site, one thing worth touching, all of Freezer is soft. They've kept the 2 walls soft. They've opened up a nice horizontal line across it, a sight line, aiming for full denial into Freezer rather than trying to lock it off.
Arikaze knows that he's been spotted out by the drone there, so he's going to dip away back into Freezer, join Mephi, and they will look to hold off any progress that Fnatic try to make down Freezer stairs for the time being. Fnatic working their way in, as they did last time, from small office, looking to just sweep across top floor, mid floor, get that all cleared out, be confident that they've got that map control, and then start working the limited vertical angles that they can get down into sight. There are no soft floors for them to breach whatsoever. They are limited to the 2 hatches, one in laundry, one in meeting, and they will try to use them as best as they can. But for the time being, they need to be confident that everywhere around them is clear. Now then, if this drone is heading all the way up to T3, that's going to take a little while to get that done, and it could burn a lot of time.
You could. You've got Lily now at least scouting out what's going on down south. Even Ura's kind of pulling back and droning himself up into big tower, just making sure it's most definitely clear there's no one looking to rat on them. Can confirm it. That is indeed the case as Meryu gets to work on these hatches. Oh no, ooh, almost gets caught out by 11 who sat downstairs, just about narrowly avoiding that one. Wasn't aware there was someone looking to contest him on that angle. But even these small things like the Kite Electro Claws, it's slowing Fnatic down by about 30 seconds. Think back to T1, they had all 3 hatches open within about 70 seconds or so. Fnatic here at that last kind of 60 seconds, and they're only just looking to get the lobby hatch opened up. It is much slower than what we saw out of T1.
Much slower. As you say, it's going to come down to one of those final bloodbaths here as they try to push in with 20-30 seconds to get that execute pulled off. And right now, T1 are able to continue playing in the same positions that they started off. The utility is now being cleared, so that's going to move PJH from behind that deployable shield. Second nade goes in just to make sure that that is in fact the case. Crazy Boy just going to take a tickle of damage there as well. Arikaze holding highway, trying to look on towards Laundry. Pressure's going to mount for him on both sides, and Fnatic are doing well here to encircle and try to pressure from multiple angles. That multifaceted attack that we often talk about, they've completely forgotten rear stage and bunker.
Nades.
That's it, so many nades coming in. The shot's nearly found from Arikaze onto Meryu. It's going to be Chibisu though that manages to find the first kill. That's onto PJH, 20 seconds left to go. Razor Bloom just halts the progress of Yura there, but nothing can halt Chibisu right now as he finds another. Lily gets in on the action before being traded. This one has to be a Fnatic round as 11, he pushes through to try and do anything, caught on the rotate, and that is going to be Fnatic finally stopping this runaway train that T1 had become.
I was so ready to turn around and say Fnatic win 2 in 16 attacks, and that is how dire their situation is. They've now just made it 3 in 16, so it's a marginal improvement, far from a massive one. It puts their win rate around 30% on the attack, which is not good, but they find one. They find something. They show they can get this done. And as you mentioned, the top floor, the bottom floor, they are the preferential sites for defenders. They've managed to crack the fortress on the bottom floor, but now they've got to do it again. And this is where you'll see some minor improvements and changes coming out of the side of T1.
Well, that's the question now. What did T1 do differently here? For me, I think they need maybe to try and just have a little bit more presence in the map. They're pretty much giving up the top 2 floors to Fnatic with little to no challenge whatsoever, and that afforded them the time to clear out the shields, to clear the utility, to wait until the perfect moment before they go in and they smash 4 kills out inside of 10 seconds. So T1 maybe try and get a little bit more mobile, even if it's just one player out there on the roam. Somebody like a PJH, I keep saying it, we've seen these crazy defensive plays that are unpredictable from him. Give him the opportunity, take the leash off, see if he can get you over the line.
What I do find interesting as well is this entire half, except for the very first defensive round in round 7, T1 have ran the Warden. And that to me is again speaking to the strengths of Repick. They are so scared that if Fnatic don't see a Warden, they're going to pick Ying again. They've just done that in the first couple of rounds they had on the attack inside, dropped away when they realised the Warden was becoming a mainstay. But again, that in itself just shows the strength of Repick, because you're now forcing the defenders to bring the Warden every single round.
A little bit of early aggression from PJH, which kind of wanted to see. Just takes a spray at the main door with Vector. Not going to find anybody. Drops himself back down to the bottom of Laundry stairs. And Fnatic once again are moving in from that small office side. And as you can see ahead of you, all those silhouettes are on the basement level, Des. The mid floor, the top floor is all Fnatics once again. And T1 choosing not to play anybody on the roam, not to play anybody on the flanks, or really to hassle too much. 11 just dipping himself up and down the rear stage stairs at the minute. But if previous rounds are anything to go by, we won't see any sort of committal to that challenge.
That's just for the drones. Normally you'll see a player play halfway up big tower stairs, kill a drone, then back away, hopefully get a second one near the top end of the halfway point of stairs. I mean, that's kind of chancing it a bit, and that I think is more from Euro prediction above actually droning him. Just knowing that players will play there and hope to find a drone. It was a good move from him. Doesn't get the kill onto 11, but he is down to half HP.
That's it. It's good work from Fnatic. It's just chipping away. It's making them think twice before they go into gunfights. 11 is one of the players that may have tried to get out on a flank, that may have tried to get aggressive and hit them, but now maybe he thinks twice given that loss of life. Chibisu just opening up the hatches, so Fnatic a little bit ahead of where they were last time around. They're going to clear out the shield just inside of the rotate there. Out comes the nade next of all, and that will be job done. The shield, however, gets repositioned. No, it's still there. They've got a second one in behind it. First one cleared, and now they've got another another to play through. I like this from T1, sort of multiple lines of defence. PJH, he's been able to push forward, but no, he's just going to dip away, and that aggression's just ebbing out of T1. They're not quite going for it.
And there's ADSs, there's Wamais, there's everything to try and slow Fnatic down here and ensure those grenades don't hit their target. They've still got 5 left in back pocket as the Goyo burns out in front of them again, burning down the clock here as we get towards that last 45 seconds, and it is still a 5 versus 5.
Fascinating to see the use of those new Goyo gadgets after the rework. Plenty of time being burnt up by them and making it difficult for Fnatic to progress. Arikaze just looking to make the challenge from Highway. He manages to get the spray down on 2 of them, but doesn't find the kill. Finds 1 though. Yura taken out by Light.
No.
Arikaze. The kills keep raining. It's going to be T1 surely, as it's a 3 versus 1 now. The Goyo getting that unfortunate team kill doesn't look like it's going to matter all too much in the grand scheme of things, because T1 find the kill that they needed, and that is going to be their first 3 points here in APAC North.
A big win over Fnatic as well, who, for again, the attacking woes continue, it feels like, that last round for Arikaze when he missed the first couple of shots.